And past 10. And where did he go?
And we are live. Well, with that, I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting of Monterey Salinas Transit May 12th meeting. And we'll just move on directly to roll call. Jeanette.
Arvell by the Sea, Madison, City of Delray Oaks.
Here.
City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield.
Here.
City of King. City of Marina.
Here.
City of Monterey.
Here.
City of Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of Sand City.
Here.
City of Salinas.
Here.
City of Seaside.
Here.
City of Soledad.
Here.
County of Monterey. And you have both.
Okay, and for the record, Mike Labar did call and say he would be arriving a little bit late.
And Bob Delbs called in before the committee meeting and is having a family issue that he's unable to attend.
Thank you. With that, if we could have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to ask Supervisor Alejo if he would give us the pleasure.
Yes, I forget all eyes for our nation's pledge. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you. With that, we'll move on to review of highlights, Carl.
Yes, thank you, Chair. On today's agenda, among the usual items and reports, we have a rescission or cancellation of MST's COVID workplace policy on consent, and a new discount category as well on consent. You'll receive an update from the Salinas Community Science Workshop. Oh, there we are. Great. A great presentation regarding the use of obsolete MST equipment to benefit the community. We'll have a public hearing in response to a new state law regarding vacancies in our workforce provided by Kelly Halkin. And then we have authorization to execute an agreement for security guard services as an action item. And then a brief update regarding the status of your 4-year strategic planning workshop that will occur sometime later this year. We also have later on the agenda a closed session item for between MST and our labor contractor, labor negotiators and the Amalgamated Transit Union. And then afterwards, I believe we have for those who are interested, a quick 15-minute ride on a double-decker bus that MST is looking at potentially introducing to our fleet in future years. Nothing imminent. We don't have the funding for it, but we did have access, and we may have need for a double-decker bus in some locations of our service area in the future. We've identified some need today. So, and we'll give you more of an update for those who are interested, board members and MST guests only after the board meeting, if you can spare about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Carl.
And Carl, during your CEO report, when you talked about the press conference that we had on the Narcan.
I can do that during the CEO.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's good.
Okay.
I saw that.
Thank you. And with that, we will go ahead and move on to public comments on matters not on the agenda. And at this time, members of the public may address the board on any matter not on today's agenda related to MST. There's a time limit of 3 minutes for each speaker, and the speaker is encouraged to engage in respectful dialogue. At this time, I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. on any item related to MST, but not on today's agenda. Public comment is open.
I do not see anyone online with their hand raised or requesting to speak.
And I'll call once more for public comment on items not on today's agenda. And not seeing anyone, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Moving on to the consent item, calendar item 3. Directors, we have items 3.1 through 3.9. Does anyone care to pull an item to be discussed or for separate consideration at this time? And not seeing anyone, we'll open it up to public comment. Public comment is open. Not seeing any public comment.
Second.
We have a motion, Leho, and a second. Smith, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions, motion carries. Okay, that brings us to recognition and special presentations. Item 4.1, and this is we have the May 2025 Employee of the Month, Fred Simpkins, coach operator.
Good morning, Board of Directors. Kelly Halkin, Chief Human Resources Officer. Normally, when a coach operator is before you for Employee of the Month, you see either Norm or Marzette. But in this case, we're recognizing Fred for something that he worked with me very diligently on. So let me present to you Fred Simpkins, who was hired as a coach operator in March 3rd of 2003. Now, the thing is with Fred is his claim to fame, and what he loves to tell everybody about is that class was one of the largest coach operator classes we had up until last year with a class of 15. And so now he can't no longer say that. He can say their second biggest class. Bridesmaid. Okay, so Fred has been before this board on numerous occasions for his outstanding performance as a driver and in leadership to his peers. Let me try to summarize many of Fred's accomplishments as he's been recognized during his career. He's a line instructor, a behind-the-wheel trainer, a 4-timer, well, now a 5-timer Employee of the Month, Employee of the Year in 2008, 20 years of safe driving, numerous coach operator performance excellence award winner, many attendance awards, and most recently, a Right Way Award winner. But that is not why Fred is here before you this morning. He's here because of his unselfish determination to make a wrong a right. In late January of this year, Fred, like many other HMO Select Health Plan enrollees, received a letter from Anthem Blue Cross. And in that letter, Anthem Blue Cross was informing the enrollees that Aspire Health would no longer be available to those enrolled in the plan as of March 1st, 2025. While medical providers dump out of plans all the time, the problem with this change was that Montage Health was part of Aspire Health and the only medical provider available through the plan. By this change, it left over 164 MST employees and their dependents and over 2,500 Monterey County employees without medical services. As soon as Fred received the letter, he called me and made me aware of the situation. But Fred, being Fred, had already started doing his homework before he made his call to me. He had called Anthem Blue Cross to ask additional questions. Anthem Blue Cross was advising individuals to complete a form to seek continuation of coverage. And CalPERS was completely unaware of the situation, and they believed this only affected those in the Sutter Health Plan. It soon became clear that this was a much bigger issue when MST employees and their dependents were being assigned new primary care physicians in Santa Rosa, Gilroy, Manteca, and as far as Coalinga, many of which were over 40 to 60 miles away. While CalPERS was now aware of the situation, they had to work the situation up their chain of command. And while I was working with CalPERS, Carl had reached out to Laird and Addis's office about the situation. They could confirm that they had received some calls from constituents, but MST was the first employer to contact them and the first to explain how dire the situation was. At that point in time, the Coast Week had also caught wind of the situation and written an article regarding how many people were affected. MSC sent links to Laird and Honest's offices with the article and to CalPERS officials while we were working with. In the meantime, Fred, Steve Ramirez, HU president, and myself were working with MSD staff to complete Anthem Blue Cross forms, letters required by CalPERS, and keeping all of the workforce informed of what was going on. Through all of this, the March 1st deadline came and went with little movement. In desperation, Fred got himself on the public speaker list for the CalPERS Health Board meeting. In his 3 minutes, Fred summarized as best he could the situation, the effect it was having on MST employees enrolled in the plan, and the need for CalPERS to find a resolution to that situation quickly. Within a week, Fred had heard back from CalPERS that his comments alone were the reason why CalPERS officials came down and met with Montage Health administrators to find out what was going on. By them coming down, they truly found out how dire the situation was in Monterey County and made a concerted effort to work with Montage Health officials and Aspire to find a resolution, as well as Anthem Blue Cross. So I'd like to say not only do the employees of MST owe Freddie a huge thank you, but also many of the employee residents who are enrolled in the in the plan as well.
Well, I want to say that it's been my honor to work at MST. I've always been a company man, and MST has always come first, 22 years. And MST has always done right by us and by me and the union, and we all get along really good here. And this was the first time I've ever gone above MST, outside of MST, and went to the CalPERS board. I thought it was one thing I had to do. And when I did it, I felt comfortable because I've been here before in front of your board. I was going to go in person, but it turned out that particular day we were going to have our very first contract negotiation meeting here at MST's at the lab. And so I couldn't go in person, so I did have to do it on phone, but I was ready to go up there with the president, Steve Ramirez. So, and I was really happy to hear that they actually heard me and listened to me, and that they did call me back and told me that they did come down here because of my comments that day. So thank you.
Oh, one person can make a difference. I was trying to work it top down. Assemblymember Addis is chair of a committee that reviews insurance programs for the state of California. It's under her jurisdiction, and we tried to point out that she wasn't following, this change was not conformed with the federal ACA or even California's own rules on insurance. And Kelly was working the bottom up through the layers, many, many layers of CalPERS, and Fred just broke on through right to the board directly through his efforts, and that's what made the difference. So thank you so much, Fred. You much well deserved.
Thank you.
And we have your resolution from the board that was adopted earlier this meeting, and your pin. And in this time, we actually do have the check.
All right.
All right. So if we can come up and get a photo.
I can say hello, you like a check.
That's right.
But Fred, I'm having a little issue with the doctor's appointment. I think you could help.
Consulting work.
There was a bunch of issues.
We had employees in the middle of cancer screenings. We had employees with critical healthcare issues for infant children, and they were being sent to Madeira, to Coalinga, it really wasn't right. It was, thank you so much.
I want to make a comment about one of our retired drivers, Patrick Hilliard, he's in the hospital currently now fighting cancer, and he had the Aspire. When he retired, he wasn't 65, so he signed up for the Aspire plan through CalPERS, and his was affected. But because he was hospitalized, luckily he could continue treatment in the hospital. But once he went home, he was forced to go to a care provider who was San Jose or Santa Clara. And luckily, though, they retroactively reestablished the CalPERS. So
Here you go. All right, let's get a photo. Is anyone else here with you, Fred?
just me. My wife at home.
All right. Ellie, you want to, Travis or Norm?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I've known Fred for a long time and I'm not a bit
Yes.
surprised. When he wants to get something done, he gets it done.
There we go.
Okay, one. Thank you.
One of these days we'll get back. Take this off and I think about it once a month, when it's too late. Okay.
With that, we'll move on to item 4.2, and this is to receive an update from Salinas Community Science Workshop. And Carl, this would be you.
Yeah, we
and
had
Teresa?
some outreach from these folks and we several years ago donated a bus as part of our program that your board approved many years ago, where we will take obsolete buses that are beyond their useful life, and rather than sending them out to auction where they will be, you know, we may earn $1,000 or broken down for parts. Sometimes it ends up costing us more money to ship the vehicles off somewhere than we get from the auction. We decided many years ago to offer vehicles up to local nonprofits. They've been converted into COVID vaccine testing units, mobile COVID units. One of my favorite presentations was Gill's Basketball Academy took one and used it for their kids. So many nonprofits have used it, but I have to say that this presentation that you'll receive is one of the, I think you'll really appreciate the information and how a community resource can be expended to do some really, really great things. And I hope to bring more of these stories back in the future. But with us, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having us. My name is Isaura Reguin, and I am the Executive Director for Salinas Community Science Workshop. And I have,
Hi, my name is Corinne Sloan. I'm faculty at California State University, Monterey Bay, and I'm the chair of the board for the Salinas Community Science Workshop.
so thank you for having us here today and for giving us the space to share about the amazing work that the team that we have does. The Salinas Community Science Workshop was established here in Salinas in 2021. So it's a group of different science workshops around the country. There are 3 in San Francisco, 1 in Greenfield, 1 in Watsonville, Salinas, and Pennsylvania. There's another one. But even though we do the same work, we all are funded by ourselves. So MST donated a bus a few years ago before I joined the organization, and we converted it into a mobile science workshop. So this year we're approaching you all because our bus is getting old. We're getting into the risk of not passing the emission test that is required by the California state. And our ask is to get a partnership, a donation from MST so we can continue serving the community. We passed around the report that this year, and so far, if I can get the slide going, that'll be great. Perfect. So as you can see, that is one of the photos of how we converted it into a science workshop. What we do basically is create contracts with different school districts. That picture right there is a Monterey Park, Salinas Unified School District. What we do is bring our bus early in the morning at 8 in the morning, and we stay through the day at the end of the day. We have the different classes coming into our bus. We split them in half of them go inside, see the exhibits, and the other half stay outside creating a project. The one that you see on the screen, the kids learn how to create a guitar. And the sound of a guitar with paper cups, rubber bands, and some wood sticks. So we go into the hands-on experience and we bring it to their school site. Currently, that is our main way of operating. So we have that model. We have programming in class as well. We have our program coordinators that come into the classrooms and bring all the science kits ready to present the class and do the experiments at the school. And also we collaborate with other districts like the Alisal Union School District, and we pre-make science kits for the teachers. For example, when it's spring break or it's summer school, we bring all of the science kits pre-made with tutorials. We have a YouTube channel and then handouts for the teachers to give those kits to the kids whenever they need to, or to keep them, during the summertime. So like I was saying, we want to get the support from MST to continue collaborating and expanding our services. If I can get into the next slide, please. So what are we do? Like I was saying, we offer bilingual activities. We also offer after-school programming. We also have family nights. We go in through the different resource centers in the community and bring our bus so we can have the full-on access. The whole child, I would say, like everyone that is involved in their education gets the opportunity to access sciences. Our goal currently is to continue expanding and therefore the need of the MST bus so we can convert it again and bring it into more places. We are focusing in Latino and low-income communities. We are the main locations that we offer programming is Salinas, Eastside, but we know that there's more need out in the peninsula. And not because you hear Monterey or you hear PG or you hear Marina, there is no need. There's need out there for us to be present and continue expanding access to STEM and changing the ideology that STEM is just for astronauts or for breaking that gap, like showing everybody you can do anything with STEM and anything relates to construction. You can do sustainable agriculture. That's another area that we're hoping to expand. Present this palette of opportunities to the kids and their families and say, look, STEM is not scary. You can do anything possible. Hartnell has mechatronics programs that are 2-year long. MPC has some other programs. So it starts exposing them at a younger age and the parents so they can understand what's coming and how it's easy to just come to our workshops, come to our bus, and we'll take care of the rest. If I can get the other slide, please. Some of the partnerships that we began this year, we are working with a sustainable farm, JAS Farms, and Real Good Fish on creating this pilot program where we will be able to bring students to their fish farm, to the sustainable farm, and at the end of our program, us providing an educational hands-on experience so the students have the idea of what it's a sustainable in general, sustainability, because it's the future of our community. And we want to keep our students here. We don't want them to leave, but we want to create opportunities. But we have to teach them that what's out here. Also, we're working with York School on creating a mentor-mentee program as well, because we want to align and start getting the students from the underrepresented groups or the challenged backgrounds to see the other ones and the ones that are having the more opportunities to connect with those that don't because they're the future. How can we unite them and start breaking those barriers, creating these mentor-mentee programs from one school to another one, getting them involved with each other. And the next slide, please. So as you can see, that's how it looks when we're in action. The pictures speak by themselves. We have the families, they come into our science bus, they do a project, they learn about sciences, but they do it together. It's really nice to see the parents come. The majority of the population that we serve are communities that are within walking distance. So that's why our priority is to bring the bus to locations where families can come. On Thursdays, we have at the library in Cesar Chavez Library in Salinas, our science bus from 2 to 5 p.m. and we offer bike repair workshops. So students they bring their bikes, we teach them how to repair them, and we get donations from different organizations that donate bike parts or Habitat for Humanity that donates wood. So it's a matter of just having the exposure there, everything available for them out there. Do you have anything to say?
Just thank you. Because you provided the bus, we've been able to serve over 6,000 students, which is really incredible when you think about access to repairing a bike or being able to tinker and engineer a motor. Those are experiences that we know translate to our workforce. So you have literally invested in our future, and we're so profoundly grateful for your support. Literally, that bus made all the difference. It meant we could go to spaces that otherwise would be inaccessible. So thank you profoundly for what you did to make such a difference for so many.
And we have more slides.
If
I can get, yeah, if I can get the challenge. I was saying, the bus is over 15 years old. most likely won't pass the 2025 California emissions. We have been keeping it in check. Thankfully, one of the partnerships that we have is with Hartnell College. They allow us to park our bus at the Alisal campus, but also the professor, one of the professors, the automotive professor, he uses our bus as a sample. So if you think about it, we're impacting not just K through 12, but also we're helping the students that are working and learning how to fix a bus this size through our donation, the donation that you gave. We also have partnered with CSUMB with the students learning service. And we had this year 2 students working remotely for us, helping us revamp our website, create all of the flyers that you have on your hands. So the goal is not just stay with one group, but impact as many groups as possible. And if we are not able to pass the test, the admissions test, we won't be able to expand. We won't be able to continue bringing to the doors of the schools this program. And that is our main space of work right now. We are offering only mobile servicing, which is great, but definitely there's challenges coming for a small nonprofit like ours. Can I get the next slide? And we just want to reiterate that we're grateful, and that if we are able to have this partnership, like we call it, definitely MST will be featured on all of our flyers, and definitely all of our programs as well in the community. And you will, like Corin said, you will be making a huge difference within not just Salinas. It'll help come to a broader space for us.
Do you have any questions for us?
I have one.
Sure.
It sounds like, from what I'm hearing, because I am aware of what you've been
Right.
doing, but it sounds like you are actually educating the students in tech jobs, electricity, engineer, because I think that that's sort of where a lot of the students now are
Right.
going, which I think is very important, because we have a deficit in those areas. So I appreciate that. Do you think that you will continue to expand that in the future?
I definitely think so. This is one of the first partnerships that we started, that few that I mentioned with York, JS Farms, and the sustainable fish farming. But there's more opportunities. For example, I've been having conversations with Joby Aviation as well. I was able to visit their location. It's amazing. If you can visit it, go. And they were sharing that they're beginning a program for 18 and older, like a mentoring program for those students or people that wants to work for them, because they're not able to find pilots around the community. So we are hoping to begin a smaller kind of like a mentoring program with them through a workshop. Definitely we have the access. We can bring already students to Joby Aviation through the contacts that we got. And because again, it's a matter of teaching them this is what is out here, not just one certain pathway. So that is the goal, that if we get this opportunity to get the bus, we can definitely create more opportunities. We're working with Monterey Bay Aquarium as well to see what we can do, if even bring the science bus to the aquarium or other locations that they partner with. So that is the goal, not just because we have to evolve as technology, as the world is happening. These kids are not going to be receiving the same education that we did. So again, we want to start planting the seed for the future that stays local, mainly local.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And any other questions or comments from the board?
What are the ages that are primarily served by the program?
We offer K through 12, which is kindergarten to high school. Yes.
And I would say most of the population that we serve is upper elementary, so 3rd through 5th, and then middle school, 6th through 8th, because we know that those are really critical ages to connect students with their future careers and just thinking about how they conceive of themselves. So we want to place the emphasis there. Granted, I don't know, we're aspirational in terms of what we hope to do. So
Yeah.
we would like to serve every student, all students from K through 12, if that's feasible.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak in support of, continue to support them through another bus. It's been put to good use. They have to actually make modifications on the bus, right, to make it.
It is converted, yes. some of the pictures I use you've seen throughout the entire presentation, if I can get another slide, please. Those you see the kids that it's all of it is inside the bus. So we have an area where they can literally come and create a project. That's half of the bus, and the other half has different exhibits. Like we have
exhibits.
yeah, so
Yeah,
we
this
have
is
another one
great.
how to make fog. That's super cool. So they get even the parents come and they like it. So we have to convert it. Yeah.
You can come and check out the bus at Cesar Chavez Library on Thursdays. I actually go there if I've had a particularly long day on a Thursday. Going and seeing the bus and the students and families there is by far the best part of the day. So I welcome you. You'd be more than welcome to come and explore.
Yeah, but Carl, I just want to say, it's a unique story, a unique partnership to have, and certainly one that's really achieving a really important purpose. This program was started by Kurt Gabrielson. If you know him, he's like a total science teacher, but he started this, I don't know, in the early 2000s in Watsonville, where he worked at one of the community centers there, and then him and his wife went to work in Indonesia. They came back and they started in Greenfield, and then his vision was to come to Salinas. And so it's somebody who really started this with the intention to serve really underserved, low-income minority students, to excite them and plant that seed to hopefully one day major in the STEM majors when they go off to college. So this is one of those stories I think that MST could be proud of.
No, absolutely. Great job.
Thank
for the
you.
Presentation, and
Thank you.
our program is very simple. You give us a letter on letterhead, and then when the buses become available, we'll have a dozen, slightly more than a dozen coming up. When the new buses arrive later this year, we'll have a dozen buses to offer up to the community. We generally have more buses than requests. And I'm actually thinking of working with our staff, modifying our program slightly to ask the recipients of these buses to provide a report of what they've accomplished with the vehicle, because I thought so often we just provide
Yeah.
the bus and then we're moving on to the next project. To have this type of feedback
Yeah.
is inspiring for staff.
Well, now you
as
have your
well.
reports, and I can send you the prior year's
So,
report.
and you know, we're trying to work together with MPUSD, who has their own, they're working on an industrial arts program, if you will, technical, like, you know, it used to be auto shop.
Mhm.
And you know, we've had some discussions with them regarding bus maintenance. And, you know, maybe there's a tie-in between
That would be awesome.
the
Yeah.
Seaside program in helping with some of the bus conversion activities.
That'll be awesome.
You know, this, I'm thinking outside the box, and I'm sure my staff's heads are exploding right now as I do this. Do that.
I have three other boards.
Okay,
on.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, but
We'll go
yes.
we'll go to Tony, Lisbeth, and then Fernando.
Right. Well, it seems like that was, Mr. Sedori was also reading my mind. Just two questions. When can they apply for this, and can we put them on the priority list, meaning that they did come and request it? Cause, like you said, it is a unique, program, very much needed, and the last thing we want is for that bus that they have right
Right.
now to go obsolete.
They're already on the list as they sent us an email requesting.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we have them become available, we'll be in contact with you.
Yes, and on top of the MST logo, maybe you can put Luis Alejo right underneath.
Probably for liability purposes. we have our logo.
We'll get one of our artists to do it.
We can create a contest and
Thank you, this is great, and I had a similar question for staff to connect with previous recipients, because buses will
Yeah,
need to be replaced, and I know we had a hard time even finding people. So I know this is one more thing. to
yeah,
add
we,
to that,
this
but-
last round, we got the sheriff's office and some other folks, some folks were doing, neutering animal, neuter mobile
snip,
neutering
yeah.
clinics, and so we'll try to get some reports back, and I think we should make it a requirement of the recipients to provide us a report back.
Yes, an
So
annual
we know what they're-
report.
So we know what they're doing with
Yeah,
that.
annual
yeah,
report.
exactly.
and yeah.
And if you know of any partnerships that we can collaborate, we're open to anything, even with MST creating something in the future that is to educate the community as well. We can always work either with K through 12 or adults. Why don't we create something else as well?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Fernando?
Yeah, my question is, well, first, thank you so much for all the work that you guys do. But you already have one converted bus.
Correct.
What are you gonna do with that? You're gonna make it into a station place?
You bit me. Yeah, I should have mentioned that. As I was saying with the JAS Farms, the protocol or the idea that we have of creating this program will be at the end of the tour that the students and the parents are gonna get coming into the farm, like the field, and doing a science project related to what they saw. This will stay there as the hub for when the students come. So we'll still use it. It's not gonna go to waste or anything. Yeah.
And as we build out to communities, one of the things we know is that the buses do actually become a space that community can gather. And so we think about the sustainable life. So finding a place to plant our bus as we, renew and recycle for the next one that goes out on the road is part of our planning. So.
Soledad is a really good place to.
Yeah.
That's our next spot in mind.
Yeah, actually, yes.
It is.
Yes.
Go back to grants and money.
Yes, a space, if you know of a space in the community, because like I said, we are right now offering only mobile. We were before at one school at the east side in Salinas El Sausal, the middle school. But because of space, everybody's growing, we moved out. So we're looking for a space in the area to have our physical workshop. But in the meantime, we're doing anything that we can to provide the service at the doors.
Hence why the mobile bus is more important. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Okay.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And with that, I will open it up quickly for public comment. Public comment, is that all?
You not see any online, any in the room?
And we'll go ahead and close. So, directors, the staff recommendation is to just receive the update.
Yeah, we received the update. We understand that it is a request. They're on our list because they've already sent us an email. Stephen Bruno, and Norm Kabuki manage that program for us, and as we get the requests, we bring them to your board. They're generally on consent. We'll say we're donating, looking for approval to donate. So I'll make a special note when we have one for this vehicle.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's not rocket science, it's bus science.
Literally.
And for the record, Mike DeBar is what has joined us
And
in
Ed Smith has
34,
left.
and Ed Smith has left.
We're
So
even. We're even.
We're even. So with that, we'll move on to the next item. This is a public hearing item 5.1, and you can find it on page 55. And this is vacant positions at Monterey Salinas Transit, and Kelly will be giving us a little report.
Good morning, MST Board. As I come before you, this is regarding AB 2561 and the requirements governed by that. So on September 22nd, 2024, Governor Newsom signed AB 2561 into law to amend the Myers-Brown Act, which created a new obligation for public agencies to publicly address vacancies or the status of their vacancies. As you are aware, each year the board approves a new budget, and as such, you are currently slated on June 10th to adopt a new budget that would include 263 full-time budget positions, as I last saw, but that could be still in flux. And so last year you approved at that same time 263 full-time positions. These positions at MST are within the admin, operations, and maintenance divisions, and they're represented by three different groups: the ATU, Local 1225, Monterey Salinas Transit Employee Association, and the confidential unit. ATU typically represents the drivers, mechanics, facility techs, inventory clerks, and the utility service people, or those individuals who clean the buses. MSTA typically represents the administrative group, and the confidential unit mainly represents the executive staff and some key personnel who are privy to closed door sessions. If you refer to page 56 in your board agenda, you will notice that attached, you will find the budgeted positions for 2024 and the vacancy rates. So as you can see, as in accordance with AB or SB 2561, the requirement is to do a public hearing if you have 20% or more vacancy within a unionized group. However, in speaking with many of my peers, our discussion has been to just
We did not have that. on.
sorry, it's okay, is to just go ahead and already do this on an annual basis to let you know what the vacancy rates are, regardless of the 20% or not. So I want to point you to the chart that is attached on 56, which shows you the total budgeted positions for FY 25, the number of vacancies and the vacancy percentage. At this time, none of the represented groups have more than a 20%. In addition, you will note that I've included our recruitment activities, but as of the beginning of January 2025, I note that on average, we're attending about one job fair per month. I think for May, we're going on like 3 or 4 that we're going to. My staff is at a job fair at Rancho Cielo as we speak right now today. That's happening between 10 and 1. So we are constantly out in the community. Every place that you see an MST table in the community, Veronica has, or the Veronica staff has our open positions and speak to these things. We were just last month, I was in Soledad with a job fair for the local high school students where adults were also encouraged to come. And I took my safety training officer to that as well, so he could answer and speak directly to the coach operator program for those individuals. So that is kind of giving you a little quick scenario or summary of our recruitment efforts, what our vacancy levels look like. And so what I'm asking for is, one, to give you an update of where we're at, but to conduct a public hearing to receive union comments on open positions within their bargaining units.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. And with that, directors, at this time, do you have any questions or comments to Kelly?
I do just want a clarification. So the public hearing to hear union comments, but it's for any member of the public as well, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. I did have just one quick question or for clarification. So the 20%, is that per unit or is that a total of 20% of MST?
It's
employees?
per unit.
Per unit. Thank you.
That's why it's broken into the chart that you see, that you can see per unit what the vacancy rate is.
Okay, thank you. With that, I will go ahead and open this up to public comment. And you will have 3 minutes for your comments. And if you wouldn't mind giving your name. Okay. So public comment is open.
No one requesting to speak online?
Okay.
No one in.
Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the board. Directors, there's a staff recommendation on page 56 to receive an update on the status of the vacant budgeted positions at Monterey Salinas Transit and to conduct a public hearing to receive union comments and public comments on open positions within the bargaining units. And with that, we have done both, and I am looking for a motion for approval.
Motion to.
Through the chair, there's no motion to approve, you just received the report.
Okay.
There's no additional action required. I would just, again, turn to make sure that there's no presentations from either unions for today.
Okay, so so with that, there is no, we're just looking for a motion to, do we even need a motion? Okay, and
Can we do it for funsies or something?
okay. Do I need to mention once more to ask for union representation for public comment?
It's been agendized, it's been brought up, there's been nobody to come forward.
Okay, so one last time, we'll go ahead and this is a public hearing and I am asking for public comment from the union representatives.
Last Friday, we did receive an email from Jared Augusta, who's the chair of MSTA, and he did not have any concerns regarding the report that was published in the agenda.
So we'll have the minutes reflect that there were no comments from any of the represented units regarding this.
So Madam Chair, so that means with no comments, because sometimes people don't show up, but it doesn't necessarily mean everything is great. So you're saying with this email, things are good?
As far as MSTA is concerned,
Yeah.
And again, state law only requires us to do this if we had 20%
Yeah,
vacancy.
Wait,
And ATU is at 6.1% and MSTA is at 8.3%. So this is completely voluntary.
We are trying to include the, spirit of the law, rather than the letter of the law.
Right.
to be as transparent as possible with our numbers as a snapshot as of April of 2025.
Okay. And for the record, I am going to, at this time, close public comments, so. And, not seeing any, so with that, we will go ahead and move on to the next item, 6.1. And this is to authorize the general manager or to look at entering into a 3-year contract with City Guard for security foot services as well as mobile services. And Kevin Allhouse, contract service manager, and Stephen Bruno, I believe, are in the room. Welcome. Kevin will be giving us a staff report.
Great. Thank you so much, Chair Carbone and members of the board. I'm Kevin Allshouse, Contract Services Manager for Monterey Salinas Transit District. I'm here today to discuss action item 6-1, which can be found on page 57 of your agenda packet. Action item 6-1 authorizes CEO/GM or their designee to enter into contract with City Guard for foot patrol and mobile patrol services for a contract period of 3 years plus 2 1-year extensions. To ensure the protection of customers, staff, and MST property, the district has an ongoing need for security services at the Salinas Transit Center and Marina Transit Exchange. The district's current security contract expires June 30th. So on January 17th of this year, MST went out, issued a request for proposals for security services. MST received 12 responsive proposals that were evaluated by the 4-person review team. Proposals were evaluated using 4 criteria. Number 1 was qualifications of the firm for 35 points, staffing and project organization for 25 points, demonstrated project understanding, also 25 points, and then finally cost was 15 points for a total of 100 points. The 12 proposals were narrowed down to 3 of the most competitive, and those firms were interviewed last month. The firm that achieved the best overall score was City Guard Incorporated, a company with more than 18 years of contracted security services experience. City Guard Incorporated has a lot of experience securing facilities for public agencies, including transit properties. And based on information from their references, they are doing a great job. So based on City Guard's achieved score, the review committee recommends the board authorize GM/CEO or their designee the authority to enter into contract with City Guard Incorporated for security services for a period of 3 years with 2 1-year options. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Questions?
Yeah, 2 questions. One, all these seem to be all out of county companies, and then second, between City Guard and Adventist Private Security, it seems City Guard was significantly lower on the foot patrol, but Adventist was way lower than the other 2 when it came to the mobile patrol costs.
Right,
And
yeah.
And we only got the overall cost of the contract for city guard, but what was the overall number for Adventa to compare what the overall cost?
Right, I don't have that figure on me at the moment. We can definitely get that for you. But when you balance everything out for the foot patrol and the mobile patrol, the contract that we have is sort of it's focused more on the foot patrol, which is, you know, can tend to be more expensive and less on the mobile patrol. So when you sort of, you know, balance everything out, the city guard proposal was better in terms of the pricing.
And these are all out of county.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. So City Guard is, yeah, based originally in Southern California, but they do have some contracts in Monterey County. And I think they're really looking to expand in this area. So they feel that having a contract that is, you know, public facing like an MST contract is gonna help them with.
And were there no like local security companies that are Monterey County based that applied or?
Yeah, I mean, we got 16 proposals, 12 of which were, you know, responsive. There was a mix of local and non-local. And, you know, as part of the process to make it as fair as possible, we just don't take into account that. We just want to look at the proposal and, you know, what they're bringing and the pricing, of course.
And when we use federal funds, which we use federal funds for security, as a matter of fact, I think there's a percentage of the funds we're required to use for security. They do not allow us to use any sort of local preference clauses with the use of local funds. That is that's something we get audited on.
But nonetheless, just to speak to the point, I mean,
Yeah.
it's always nicer, we use our economic power by helping local companies when we can, if they're competitive with their within.
When we can, we absolutely do, and yeah, we attempt to work locally as much as we can and do a lot of local work.
But were local Monterey County based security companies, were they out of this range to be seriously considered?
Stephen, do you
Yeah.
have results? I'm gonna, here's our number counter here. Stephen Bruno, our purchasing agent. He's the one who receives them, tallies up the scores.
So we did have one local firm in range, and it was the second rated, which is Allied Universal.
Okay.
All the others were out of competitive range.
We'll go to Joe Emilio and then to Tony.
Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Has one been used before? I mean, what have we used before? Just curious.
Oh, so this current contract that started in 2020 is the first time that we contracted with the security services agency to provide security at those locations. And then, so this is the first contract. The current contract is with Allied Universal. And and so we just.
The incumbent is the one who scored second.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Okay, thank you.
But not by
Yes.
much.
We used first alarm before.
Oh, they're
Yes.
more expensive though.
Then they grew the.
Yep. Monterey County is more expensive according to this. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. That's what I was gonna ask, because let's face it, we're all trying to support local, and I know you're doing a great job at it. And that was my question was, being that there was one competitive, why weren't they considered? But I understand that they're more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, we scored them all and just based on how the scoring worked out.
And Mr. Sador, forgive me for being redundant here, but I'm trying to understand. You mentioned something that the federal government, what about local? What do you mean?
We're not allowed to establish local preference in our procurements. So, you could, some agencies, if you're using, and it could be in your county if you're using local tax dollars. And I think some of your cities do this. You give points, award points for a local business.
Yeah.
Doing, who's established in your business, and you can do that. When we use federal funds, because we collect taxes from all around the country, go into the National Highway Trust Fund and then come back to us, we're prohibited from having a local preference. Is that still the case, Stephen? I'm a little dated in some of this, but that's okay. Yeah, all right. I want to make sure that I haven't had to do this particular job in a
that's
while,
fine.
but.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and just a remark, I'm not too concerned because it will still be local people that they
Exactly.
hire. They won't get
That's-
people from outside of the county.
Yeah,
to-
all the guards will be local.
Yeah, and but I do have a question about that one outlier that Supervisor Alejo mentioned. If you see something that looks like a typo almost, do you contact a firm to check their numbers, or are you not allowed to do that because it's the deadline when they have to submit? And
Yeah, of course, there's a process, just ensuring that, this is the best and final offer, and so,
yeah,
yeah.
because that is a strange number there for the mobile patrol fees for the Adventist. So
And Carl-
anyway, yeah.
How long do we have LA? How long were the incumbents doing this work for us?
Till June.
5 years.
Right.
It'll be
Oh.
5 years, June 30th.
Yeah, I'm just saying because you would, every employee, they get pay raises over time, and so these workers are not gonna be out of jobs. New people are gonna hire people at the lower scale, and that's why they're able to price out the incumbent on it. So there's people are gonna pay the price. Those who were working longer for the company or not is gonna be out of jobs, and they're gonna hire people on the low end.
Well,
Yeah.
my sense is that they gave a very competitive proposal so that they can get their foot in the door in Monterey County. And they may lose money on the contract. That's very possible, so.
Director at the bar.
No, good discussion. When we put out whatever the RFP or the RFQ, do they understand, do all the people who bid understand the different rules regarding, like, here, there's no local preference, but they may have bid on a local job where there's a local preference and not understanding that this is not one of those applicable ones? I'm just
We
curious.
provide the boilerplate template of all the federal rules and regulations that they need to conform with. We publish what they're going to be rated on and what the percentage of the rating is going to be. So they have complete understanding of what the process is going to be. I personally do not get involved in that because there's an appeal process and I'm the first level of appeal. So I stay out of the whole decision until an appeal is received, and we've not received an appeal on this. So we inform all the applicants of what our decision and what we're coming to the board with a recommendation, and they have an opportunity to come and present. So
Well, no, and I just for clarification myself, and I would imagine, when the city or a county goes out for it in the guidelines where it shows what the points, how they're scored, there'd be a local preference one. If the local preference was there, they would see that those.
if you were, I would be shocked if that weren't the case. That, you generally, as a rule, you publish how you're going to be rating the proposal so that the applicants know how to punch up their proposal as best as possible, where to focus it. So
Thank you, Chair.
Nando?
Yeah.
And then
Um,
we go to Dave.
If this company has been working for us for 5 years, what makes us change? Why?
we have a 5-year, we're required to go out to bid.
So it's not that they did something wrong, it's just.
No, we did
just-
not.
Just a cycle.
Yeah, we
okay.
put out a bid for 5 years and that's the general term. We'll usually do a fixed, to help the applicant, we'll do a fixed term for a number of years and then we give options.
Okay.
And then if we can't agree on an option, then we'll go out to bid again. Or in recent memory, we've had a contractor, MV Transit, decided midterm that they wanted an increase, and we said, well, we'll have to go out to bid again because we just, you've competed already. We can't change the rules of the competition because you need more money. So
We have a set budget for that, right?
yeah,
Chair, if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to a couple of key points in this procurement. You'll note that pricing was 15%. So it wasn't weighted towards pricing. So pricing was 15%. Another thing that I wanted to note is Allied Universal is either number 1 or number 2 in the world. They do have a local office, but they're not a local you know, yeah, born and raised here. I just wanted to make that.
A little more.
Thank you. Joe,
I'd like to make a motion to authorize this security guard foot patrol and
Safeguard. I'll second.
okay,
Comments?
we do need to go out to public comment, so if we hold there, if there's no other directors' questions, public comment is now open. Once again, public comment is open on this item. And not seeing anyone in the room or anyone online. I'll go ahead and close public comment. And we do have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Actually, the staff recommendation, I'll read it off on page 57, is to authorize the general manager or their designee to enter into a 3-year contract with City Guard Inc. for security guard foot patrol and mobile patrol services, with the option to extend for 2 additional 1-year terms in an amount not to exceed $1,864,908, including option years. With that, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Or abstentions, and for the record, Ed Smith has exited. So with that, oh, she carries. We'll go ahead and move on to the next item. 6.2, page 61, and this is the 2026-2030 strategic planning workshop update, and we are looking to receive staff recommendation for the 2026-2030 strategic planning workshop and provide.
This is just a short report. Your board adopts a 4-year strategic plan. And we are due for a new one coming up. The 4-year plan is a facilitated meeting, unlike the annual updates that we give that, I just kind of coordinate. So we went out for competitive quotes, similar to the process that we just received. Did an internal evaluation. The amounts weren't enough that it's something that has to come back to your board. It's within my signing authority. But we ended up settling on Third Wind Leadership. Some of you may remember Jerry Benson, who conducted our first ever all Zoom strategic workshop during the early days of 2021. We were still trying to figure this new technology out, but it worked out pretty well. He is a person that we formerly worked for the Utah Transit Authority, has experience in our industry, both as a staff person and as a former board member, and is now working in consulting. He's done work for some of our peers, similar sized peers, Bakersfield being the closest one, Golden Empire. So, and he's familiar with us. We are awarding the contract with him, and we hope to, we'd like to have your board chair form a strategic planning committee. Your board chair and I have discussed this, and we suggested the vice chair, former chair, past chair LaBar, and Ms. Vischer to be part of the subcommittee to work with the consultant on setting up the kind of doing some of the pre-work, coming up with some of the surveys to share with you all and help guide staff in the pre-work coming up for the strategic planning workshop that we would like to conduct in lieu of the August board meeting. We do start at 9 a.m., go through noon, maybe have some lunch, or we'll see how the board and you all want to handle it, but there'll be more updates. So just wanted to give you an update. We've selected someone you're familiar with, someone I'm familiar with, and with the board, we've discussed this and planning to move forward. Concludes my report.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. with that, directors, any questions, comments?
You've got a powerful team there.
They feel a need to join in addition to?
No.
Okay.
Powerful.
Ed's not here, so if you want to recommend him, I don't.
Okay, well, with that, let's open this up to public comment. Public comment is open. Not seeing anyone in the room or on via Zoom. We'll go ahead and close public comment. And the recommendation is to receive the staff 2026-2030 strategic planning workshop update and provide directions as appropriate, which we have.
Yep.
And with that, do we need a motion? No?
Nope.
Okay. Well, with that, we'll move on to reports and information items. And the first one will be Carl, 7-1, General Manager. report.
Yes, so you have the results of our month of March, and as I mentioned in the committee, we've, had a string of double-digit growth year after year for the last 2 years. We've seen that drop to 1% or 2% grow. It's still growing, but at a much smaller rate. Not sure what's going on. If it's just natural, we've achieved growth, or if there's we have identified there's growth is much slower in the Salinas Valley. We don't know if this is related to activities that's been going on with some of the farm worker community and that do ride our bus. We are doing a community survey this year. We do this every other year where we actually go out and talk to the customers, and maybe we'll gain some insights there as we move on. I was asked that we break up at May 1st. We had a great community event at the Salinas Transit Center attended by your chair and Director Alejo and Director Barrera for the ribbon cutting on our Narcan and fentanyl testing dispensers that are at the Salinas Transit Center and at the Marina Transit Exchange. So great partnership. Appreciate the leadership from the County of Monterey and requesting us to partner with this. So great things there. I attended last week the California Transit Association conference with your board chair and staff, and I was a featured speaker. I provided a rant, a discourse on state of permitting projects in this county, or not just in this county, in the state and in the nation. And it's drawing a lot of attention. There is proposed legislation that some people are pointing to the SURF project, and it's 77 permits from 5 jurisdictions and 400 conditions as an example of what's wrong with why we can't get nice things built. Not just here, but I've seen there have been podcasts on NPR with Kentucky Governor Beshear, with state of Michigan Representative Senator Slotnick, and some Central Valley representatives, Congress people were in Sacramento while we were there talking about it. So timing seems to be right from a lot of people about reform of this. So too late for our SURF project, but maybe we can use this as an example of how not to do things in the future, and maybe some good can come of it.
Ask a question?
Yeah.
So are we preparing like a list of regulations and permitting processes that we can just hand to those people as?
We're working closely with a group called SPUR, who are an advocacy group and have also participated in some legislative hearings from the Assembly, just providing comment that have gone into a report. And we're working on my work on the Transit Transformation Task Force. We are providing written recommendations to the legislature that it's included, and we also are working at our admin committee. You heard an update from Don Gilchrist, our lobbyist, some recommendations from MST to get into authorization regarding NEPA reform. And some of these, at least one of our recommendations is getting picked up by APTA and some of our other trade associations to be included in the national platform. So we are having impacts, not just in permit reform, but in other streamlining efforts for financing as well. So doing good things there. That concludes my report.
Okay, thanks, Carl. Federal legislative report.
that was just we received that the state and federal legislative advocacy reports are in there. correspondence from the Secretary of Transportation on page 115. This is, interesting. We're not sure exactly what it means other than MST shall obey the law. It's really now, we've always obeyed the law. It's now just determining what is the law. Is the law an executive order? Is the law what the law is until a judge intervenes? We are committed to obeying the law. We sometimes will need the law explained to us when it changes, but we need to certify that. Both myself and our attorney need to certify that we will follow the law before we can get any funds, and we will make those certifications and we'll follow the law. So I don't see anything necessarily here that's going to be a problem for us.
Do you want to take these one by one, the state legislation?
No, we
Okay,
received updates.
okay.
The reports are there, and we received updates in our committee meeting. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions? Not seeing any, so go ahead and move on to the next item, board reports, comments, and referrals. Reports on meetings attended by board members at MST expense. I did attend the California Transportation Agency conference, one-day conference in Sacramento last week, and I will have a written report. It was Mother's Day weekend, so I took a week of it. But it was very informative. So.
Madam Chair, I have a
Yes.
question. Have we followed up on the code of conduct situation yet? How's that going?
We've had some discussions with the board chair and general counsel, and we'll be getting back with you.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Then I need to ask, so when do we need to get all of our final?
So the suggestion that general counsel and I had after reviewing the numerous comments from board and written comments from some board members and the difference from where we are versus where we are today, staff and general counsel strongly recommend a reconvening or establishment of a new committee to take another crack at this or let it go. This was a board-driven process. If you want to continue the process, if you're going to continue the process with staff, we suggest another committee convene because we missed it. And so it's whether you all want to continue with this process, let us know and we'll convene another committee to see if we can get it better or not.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Hey, we're lawful broker.
Yeah, but there's a couple of things.
So we could bring, this would be an excellent topic for our strategic workshop. And I think we can expend some time there.
Not too much.
No, not too much. That's why we hire a facilitator so that I don't get in between. And we can perhaps do some discussion with the committee and the facilitator and some surveys of your board to help us determine what the appropriate course of action is in the workshop.
And the hymn for that day will be Kumbaya.
Just like the Salinas City Council meeting.
It's that song, let's get together.
We, just so you know, we love each other at the Salinas Council. Ms. Chair, I just wanted to say thank you to the MST, the seniors from the Firehouse Recreation Center wanted me to let, that you got an awesome MST staff.
Yeah.
Great service. Now they want to see when the MST bus can take them to Chichansy.
We cannot do that.
Have to hire Discovery.
Chancey bus.
Take the sign off. And also, Ms. Ikuyo Yoneda Lopez is inviting this board Wednesday, May 21st at 9 AM to celebrate 10 years of Measure Q.
Correct.
So for that day, if you're coming to Salinas, bring your hard-earned money and spend it in Salinas.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be fun.
And that's right before our Transit Senior Day celebration that starts directly after that. We'll have some of the same groups at the, if you haven't been to the Mobility Center in Salinas, if you're newer to the board, I highly recommend a visit.
That'll be fun. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Any other board member comments or announcements?
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
So King City just had their certification meeting with the Blue Zones project in Monterey County. This was the portion I was involved in was on the infrastructure. I want to express great appreciation to MST. I understand that you were also interviewed, but I had brought up how important it is as we're moving through the certification process and working with, as a partner with other agencies. And the example was when we did the Better Best Network redesign was going to the circulars. And what the circulars meant for our community, by anybody can reach that within a quarter-mile walk at most. But it also, it's the right word, not expands, but complements the other projects, our ATP projects, our parks, everything else that we're doing. The transit was an important component, especially since any member of our community can get all the way to the peninsula for $2 because of the transfer portion of it. So thank you for that work, because that is going to help us move towards certification. And it is an important component for our goals to become a certified blue zone city. Thank you again, MST.
We're working on that too, so.
Hey,
But we're not quite as quick as you are yet, so I'll come back.
Any other director comments at this time? And if not, we'll go ahead and move on to board member referrals for future agendas. And you did have a little bit of comments there. Did you have anything?
Other than, last month we had a request that we're working on for better translation services than what we experienced in the previous meeting when we got a little overwhelmed. That work is ongoing and being led by our marketing communications folks. So we'll be better prepared for the next time we have an anticipated group showing up to speak to us.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
But I did feel your staff person did good.
Yeah. You may be seeing her up here in the future for
a white envelope.
I don't want to divulge. We haven't had our conclave of executive leadership yet to issue the white envelope.
How come we don't get those? Simple that.
It's an honor to serve, just to serve.
Thank you.
With that, item 9.1, a monthly report that's is online, and you could see that there. We'll go ahead to item 10, and this is we will be going into closed session to conference with Monterey Salinas Transit and ATU labor contract, government code 54957.6 with Michael Laredo and Kelly Halcon. At this time, I will open this up to public comment for any members of the public which would like to make comment on this item.
You have a public comment, please raise your hand. Seeing anyone online raising their hand?
Okay.
Not seeing anyone in the room. Any idea time? Brief, a brief update, and then following for those board members who wish to take a ride on the double-decker bus.
Public comment is closed.
Meet in the yard here in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I like
And we are waiting for. We could go ahead.
That part out.
Okay,
Right, yeah.
Following your footsteps.
okay, moving on to item, back to item 10, we will report out.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So the board did meet in closed session on one item. This was conference with the MST labor negotiators regarding the ATU labor contract. This was under Government Code Sections 54957.6. General discussion was had regarding the process and status of open negotiations, but there is no reportable action at this time. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Michael. With that, this meeting is adjourned. The next scheduled meeting will be June 9th at 10 o'clock. And if anyone cares to take a tour on the double-decker bus, please join us.
Shortly, it's left the yard at One Ryan Ranch and is gonna be here in just a couple.
And happy belated Mother's Day to all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh,
Except.
Thank you.